at nothing all day. And we've been taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. We've been taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business. And I've been working overtime. Work out.
Welcome, everybody. We are live. Let's take care of some business first, and then we'll get right into it. This is the first of two live shows going back to back tonight. It just somehow worked out that way, and so we have we got Jaden here in the first segment. He's a special guest on the show tonight, and we'll be telling you more about what's going on with him. In the second episode, we got current Iowa softball player Anna Streeth, or is it Streff, Jason?
Streff. It's Streff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
On as a guest, and Molly Tyback will also join Jason and I for that episode. Okay, first things first, I always got to tell you guys, if you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button right now, smash it hard. I need to get those. I think we're at 514, but we've been stuck there for a while. After a good steady count, I think we rose from like about 200 or 300 to 514 in a matter of about 2 months. But guys, we're stuck. We got to keep pushing toward that 1,000 mark. Let's get going. Hit your like buttons, okay? Hit the like buttons. Don't forget to comment tonight. And above all else, share this podcast.
What are the other platforms this is streaming on?
Tonight it's just YouTube.
Well, you say normally you say it's on other platforms that you share it to.
Yeah. Well, last time I went on, the Hawkaholic stuff wasn't working. They somehow got detached from being live on here, and so they're going to have to put their stuff back. And I didn't know who else was using the other stuff that I could go live on. So
it's strictly just YouTube tonight?
Yeah, so it's just YouTube tonight. Okay, and then when we share it, and I expect you both to share this out.
Yes, I have. I have.
There you go. Got the whole state of Ohio watching tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. As you can see from the title, we're going to do a little Buckeye talk tonight. And this is something we haven't done before. Usually when we do a Big Ten preview type show, we just cover the whole Big Ten in one fell swoop. And I kind of like the idea here is this will be the first of, we're just going to, throughout the summer, we're just going to do a lot of different Big Ten teams. I'm not sure we'll get to all of them this summer, but the Buckeyes are going to be our first choice tonight. And Jaden here is a Buckeye fan, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and why he's a Buckeye.
Yeah, so it started back in 2011. I used to play football with Jason, and Ohio State was playing in Nebraska, and I didn't get to go to the game because my dad, he ended up picking my brother and made me go to the football game. So Ohio State, of course, they ended up losing that game, but because I didn't get to go, I ended up picking Ohio State just to spite him and go against his team. And the rest is history. I've been cheering for Ohio State ever since. So 14
I got
years
to add
now.
to that in the fact that I figured that because you want to know something else, Dean. He's also a Giants fan and his dad's a Cowboys fan. So that kind of goes.
You just want to spite your dad, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of thought that was a thing there.
Okay. Well, at least since they lost the game to Nebraska, I would guess that we can't say you jumped on the bandwagon, right?
Right.
Yeah. That
Right.
year, 2011, was like the first time I started sitting down and watching Ohio State start to finish, and they weren't that good. Say that. They were 6-7 that year. So that was one of the worst in the recent years.
I think that was their only down year.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the year of Luke Fickell, wasn't he the head coach there? Yeah.
Yep, he was the interim head coach.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Braxton Miller was a freshman, and then we had Bowserman, who came in when Miller got hurt in that Nebraska game, and he was terrible. So
Right.
that just led to a string of losses.
Right.
Okay, I'm just curious before we go on and do any more Buckeye talk. You said that you played football with Jason? I mean, he was your coach?
Well,
Yeah, only
he
for
was
1 year.
Jay's a scholar and an extremely fast person. But yeah, he learned the air raid. I don't remember what I was coaching. I think at that time, the 13, 14-year-olds. And then I coached Tavian's team, who's my son, who also played football. He just told me, I'm not going to play football. But I think that was, 2011. You were what, 9 and 10? I don't remember how.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, because I was coaching the Northwest 13, 14-year-old kids at that time. And then we took over another team, which is you guys. Yeah, I think 9 or 10 as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't play football with him. I didn't put the pads on. And
Okay. Well, when he said with, I realized there's a big age gap. So I thought, well, maybe you were his coach because I know you coached at one point. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
and Jaden, or he calls you Jay, but I'll call you Jaden. Because I got my grandson's name Jaden, so I like the
Oh,
name.
yeah.
I forgot where I was going with this, guys. Oh, you can actually vouch that he actually coached, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there are doubters out there
Yeah.
that say he never coached.
Yep, and then a couple years later in 2015, we did flag football, and you would have thought that it was at the college level of how we were being coached.
We ran the air raid, and they dominated the flag football league.
Yeah.
We ran the air raid. I think it was 7-on-7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
so we
7
ran
on 7,
the
and the
whole.
ball was in the air all the time, right? Nobody
Yeah,
ran the ball.
we ran my whole. Well, Jaden and they knew a lot of the air raid, even my route tree and all that. So it was pretty simple to teach. But we ran the no huddle, right? So it was
Yes.
something that we ran the no huddle nonstop, and we ran the air raid the best that. What were you, 13, 12, 13-year-olds,
13.
something like that? 13, yeah. And it was a great year. They didn't lose a game. Not even
Yeah,
sure we had
there were teams that haven't lost in like 2 seasons, and then we came in and we were beating them. So
And the parents were mad. They
yeah.
said we cheated and all that. But,
Well, I'm going to brag too about my grandson. My grandson Xander. He played. God, he's 15, going on 16 right now. But he must have been about 12 when he played flag football, and he was the only person he caught a lot of passes throughout the year, throughout the season. But they come down to the last game of the season, and I was taking him to the games because his parents were working. So I was driving him to his game, and he said, "Grandpa," he says, I'm the only person that hasn't caught a touchdown pass this year. I go, well, this looks like it's game to do it. And so, and I actually did a little cut up of him because he seemed like he was catching the ball all night long, that seemed like he might have been the only receiver that was catching the ball. But he was catching the ball, but still no touchdowns because, he's not that fast. So his flag comes out of him pretty quickly when he catches, wherever he's at when he catches the ball. But anyway,
Jay's
he's
the
like
opposite.
grandpa pretty slow.
Jay's
But
the
very
opposite.
last
He
play
was
of the
speed.
game, both teams were tied with 1 loss each. They had lost to each other during the regular season. The winner of this game was league champions.
Oh.
Very last play of the game, he catches the pass, but he's about 1 foot outside the end zone. But he had the good fork to catch it and walk into the end zone untouched. I mean, he only had a foot, but golly. And he came up, he was just jumping up and down. He finally caught his touchdown pass.
At the biggest moment of the season.
Yeah. Untouched
when
from
he
1
needed
foot
it,
out.
League champions with 1 loss. Okay. Boy, I know that everybody tuning in doesn't want to hear us talk about stuff like that. They want to hear about the Buckeyes. So you guys have got a young quarterback. Was it named Jalen Sayin?
Julian saying.
Julian Sayin.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't pronounce names very well. And when I hear them, I don't spell them right either.
Yep, he's the transfer when Nick Saban announced that he was retiring. He was a part of that Caleb Downs transfer that they both came to Ohio State. So he's been sitting behind Will Howard for that year and looks to be the starter this year after spring practices.
I was reading up. It sounds like that he's the projected starter.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into it later. I don't want you to reveal anything about, because we're going to do our standings. where you got Ohio State, but I think I know
Okay.
where you put them.
But you can let him go through the positions.
Yeah, I
Let
want
him
you to go
explain
through the positions and just kind of talk about who you see as starters and maybe some backups there.
Yeah, so I mean, the wide receivers that, for the most part, will remain somewhat similar with the loss of Emeka Ibuka. You still have Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. That'll be your main two, with Brandon Ennis, who played a little bit last year. He had a touchdown in the Penn State game, and that would be more of the Emeka Ibuka type of receiver that we're looking at getting this year. For running backs, we lost both of them, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. So we have
Yeah.
a transfer from C.J. Donaldson from West Virginia. He transferred in, and he'll be battling with Peoples, who he's been there for about 2 years now, and they'll be going back and forth. I'm thinking that they'll go with the same system that they had last year, where Quinshon and Travion split. That way, as you get down into the later part of the year, they're both fresh. So on the offensive side, I mean, that's pretty much it. Linemen, we had so many injuries last year on the offensive line that a lot of these guys, they're going to be pretty much the same. 4 out of the 5 should be the same.
I just
And
want to
then
say
going
something
down-
right there while you're going on.
Yep.
A lot of injuries on the offensive line, yet you're national champs.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you the depth and the talent on the team. Teams like
Mhm.
Iowa can't afford that.
$20
Anyway,
million
go ahead.
roster, baby.
Yeah.
$20 million
Go ahead.
roster.
Yep.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that Nebraska game, we had 2 injuries happen, both to the left guard and left tackle. So that was, I mean, the first half we looked fine, and the second half we come out and we look like we can't move the ball at all because our offensive line can't get the right push to run the ball. And that's why Nebraska looked like they were going to beat us for about 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, most of the game. Yeah.
Um,
That was interesting, is what that was. I was like, what
Yeah.
the heck?
But then on the defense side of the ball, we lost pretty much just about every starter on the D line. You lost JTT, Jack Soros, our main 2, Tyleek Williams, DT, all went to the NFL. But now we have Caden Curry, Caden McDonald. They'll be our 2 ends. Got Sonny Styles. He'll step up. He played more of a hybrid safety, middle linebacker role. He'll do that again. Arvell Reeves, he had a lot of playing time last year. But then we get to the corners where you lose Denzel Burke. You still have Igbenogson who will be there. But for the most part, with our new corners, it'll be interesting to see. It's a lot of young guys coming along. A lot of uncertainty on that side of the ball, outside of Caleb Downs and then Caden Curry on the D-line. So it'll be interesting to see week 1 against Texas. They have a lot of different position changes, new quarterback as well. Wide receiver, he is not going to be their wide receiver. Golden, he won't be there. So it'll be interesting to see both of those teams going forward. And week 1 it'll be a huge test for both.
Yeah, against Texas. So, tell me, is it at Texas or at Ohio State or neutral
It is
site?
in Ohio. And it's
Okay.
at the big noon kickoff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at the shoe at
Yeah.
noon.
I will tell you
Yeah.
this. I read an article today. Ohio State's trying to get it moved to prime
Mhm.
time, but Texas won't agree to it.
Yes, they were trying to move it to Sunday night. So that first
Sunday night,
weekend,
too.
yeah, that first weekend they have those games on Sunday night, and then
Yeah.
I guess that Monday night as well. But Texas denied it, and they wanted it on Sunday night so they can be away from that Saturday night slot and still have Fox covering the game. But they didn't want that. So
Yeah. Yeah, because we want to be in the big noon slot. That's just like the
Yeah.
worst thing that Fox ever came up with. I miss those prime time games.
Yeah.
Iowa
would be
used to be
so much
so
different.
unbeatable in prime time. At
Hey,
all.
And
Jay actually has a story. He was at a game, the Penn State game from
Yeah.
2 years ago.
that was my first
He
Iowa
knows.
game.
Yeah, he knows what the magic's like in that
Yes.
stadium.
Oh yeah. You see, Iowa fans, they get drunk all day long, then they go into at night and they're just so rowdy. People like Penn State can't handle the rowdiness. I believe we undid Penn State's playoff hopes one year, and I think we
Mhm.
undid Michigan's one year.
2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
But you
no,
guys
that's
might
just
get
like,
one this year. I was reading somewhere that Oregon potentially might be an NBC game is what they're looking at, depending on how the other games line up. But
Right.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Well,
see.
that you're gonna know that the
Or a
big boys are gonna
Peacock
come in
game.
for those big
Mhm.
games. Yeah.
I mean,
And
but
that could be a primetime game. Is that in Oregon or in Ohio
I think
State?
that one's the Oregon-Iowa game.
Oh yeah. Oregon Iowa game is at home. I hope that's a
Mhm.
primetime game.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick, I can only have Penn State or Oregon for prime time. I want Penn State.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, it's all about that $1 billion contract, right? We have no choice. That's why we have to get on Peacock. I mean, we have to buy all these subscriptions because it's part of the bill. You got to have Prime. I mean, all kinds of things
Yeah.
to watch these games.
Yeah, we just don't have the payroll that Ohio State does. All right, Kelvin Fisher, one of our regular commenters on this show, and sometimes podcaster on this show, co-host. He wants to know: is the big dollar line
LT, left tackle.
left tackle? I know it. Left tackle transfer starting. Will he be
Yes.
starting?
Yes, it's Ethan Onawa. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Yeah. So far, that's who was the starting left tackle in the spring game. So
Okay. But what happens in the spring doesn't always
it
translate.
doesn't
to the
always
fall.
translate. Yeah.
For real, especially at Iowa.
Okay.
Kirk likes to play games with us.
Yeah. Then he acts like a dumb. Oh, did I leave so and so off?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was off. Oh, did I put him on? I didn't know I put him on.
Yeah, for real.
And I love his attitude this year when asked about why he didn't have an end of the spring depth chart. He says because too many parents complain. That's got to go back to the what year was that? We lost what was those two quarterbacks? Beathard, and who was the one that Beathard beat out? They finally named him the starter. Yeah, and he went to Michigan, and actually that was a good thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good for him. But I mean, the truth of it is, it's the transfer portal. When kids don't like the depth chart, they're going to get out. I mean, that's why Charlie left us, right? I mean, he did not like that he wasn't going to play wide receiver. He went to Purdue.
It worked out.
Play with
for
his
him.
buddy, and it worked out for him. Right.
It worked really good, for him. Okay, so guys, are you guys ready to move on to our rankings of the Big Ten?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, Jaden, go first for us. Start with number 18.
Number 18 should be pretty obvious. I think at least Purdue, number 18.
Oh, yeah. You texted me that everybody should have the same last one.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I hope he's thinking the same thing I am. Yes, I'm with you.
Yes.
Explain why
I'll
if
have
you want
Purdue.
to. If you don't have a reason, I can explain what I got.
Well, here's why I think Purdue is last. Okay, I think they're going to be an improving team, but between their schedule and all the other teams in the Big Ten that are better already, it's just, in my opinion, they just don't have a chance.
Yeah, they play USC, Notre Dame, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana. So
talk about a schedule.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Ten, Barry Odom. This isn't UNLV anymore.
Not the Mountain West or whatever that they're in.
Yeah, they're in the Mountain West. Yeah, but that's actually why I have. I mean, he coached at Missouri. You talk about failing up. He coached at Missouri, lost his job after 3 years, went to UNLV, and they balled out last year, right? I think they had 10, 11 wins, something like that. And then now he's back up in the world at Purdue. Got a couple million from Purdue. So I just don't.
Hopefully they give him some time to build that program because
they don't have anything.
In all honesty, with Indiana and Illinois reemerging already and Nebraska reemerging, it's going to be a tough league.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I think it'll stay that way for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, this was kind of tough to pick number 17. To me, I ended up with Northwestern.
That's who I have as well. And it's also, it's also going back to, scheduling for them too. Oregon, Penn State, Nebraska, USC, Michigan, Illinois again. I don't see them having a successful year in the Big Ten. And then, last year they didn't look the best. I'm not sure how much better they'll get in a year. I mean, Indiana, they were able to do it, so I'm not going to say
Right.
they can't, but
They don't
really-
have Indiana's schedule though. Like Indiana last year had like the 120th best schedule or something. Like they had one of the worst, so that helped Indiana out.
Mhm.
But I actually have Maryland. They're
Okay.
just going. The Maryland is just going down. I mean, I love Loxley. I wish he would get it turned around. But there's something about their they just start off hot. There's something about how even when they get a 20-point lead, let's say, they'll keep throwing the football. They're like the opposite of Kirk, where they'll just keep throwing it and they end up throwing interceptions or the clock stops. When you throw the ball, only 3 things happen and 2 of them are bad, and that's what Maryland doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense because sometimes some games they'll get hot and they'll have this huge lead, but then they'll just keep chucking the ball and the clock stops. They throw picks. So I have.
Do you remember a
Maryland.
team a few years ago who had a 17-0 lead on Northwestern and lost the game because they kept throwing the ball 50 times in the game? That was Iowa.
That was the last time.
Uncharacteristically, Iowa throws the ball 50 times in the game.
Yeah, that was when Kirk put the old kibosh on that, and we don't do that stuff anymore. There's a reason why
17-point lead, we're only running the ball. We're not even going to put the ball in the air.
prior to last year, I believe, that was the last Iowa loss when they had an 8-point or more lead at any point in the game. Since 2015, Kirk is like 78-3 when having an 8-point lead, and that's at any point in the lead. And it's because of the way Kirk is the best game manager. You give him a lead, if you're running the football, you give him a lead. He's almost unbeatable with the way he'll punt the ball when he'll punt the ball on 4th and inches, right? And he'll just make all of us mad. But they end up winning the damn game, so you can't really say much.
But there was 2 games. Yeah. There's 2 games that he had more than an 8-point lead, and they didn't win. UCLA and Iowa State. Yeah,
they didn't have a 8-point lead against UCLA, did they?
They were like 10-0 before they. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Then UCLA came back and scored 10. Then we scored.
Okay, so there was 2
17, and then I think they scored to get Then they scored to get to 17, and then we scored to get to 17. They kicked a field goal at 20. Yeah. We had 3 or 4 minutes to take the ball halfway down the field and score a winning touchdown or a tying field goal, and we throw the ball 3 times, and our KJ2 was not on the field for any of those.
Can you tell? Hey, Jay, can you tell somebody was in the Rose Bowl watching that game?
I was.
That's him. He was actually there.
All of us Iowa fans were getting mad in the stands because KJ wasn't out there, and we're looking on the sideline quickly to see if he's hurting or injured. We're trying to figure, is he hurt or something? Where's he at on the sidelines? Coach's decision, I guess. Okay.
Right. Dumb decision.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Moving on. I would like to say that my number 16 pick is Maryland. So we're not far off, Jason.
Is that the reason? Is because they don't have talent, or you just don't think Mike can do it?
Oh, okay. I'm kind of thinking the same way you do.
Okay.
It's just like they just do stupid stuff in the game. They got some talent on that team. I'm just not sure Mike Loxley is the right coach for that team.
Well, that's because he just likes to go. And he doesn't have, remember the Iowa game when Iowa scored 50 against them? Mm-hmm. They threw 6 interceptions to Iowa. So that I can't ever say his name. Like Talia Taliopo, is that how you say his name?
Talia Tagovailoa.
Is that the brother, or is that the one at Miami now?
That's the younger brother. That's the brother that went to Maryland. Yeah. But he threw 6 or 7 interceptions that game, and that's not being hyperbole or nothing. That's real. Where they just kept chucking it. And Iowa just kept intercepting it and scoring. So, it's stuff like that I root for Mike. I think he's a great guy, great coach. He took in Brian when Brian had his issues at Iowa, Brian Ferentz. And, I think he's a great person. I root for him. I just don't think his game day management's going to work in the Big Ten.
Jaden, who you got at number 16?
Also Maryland, for the same reasons as above. I just don't like them. As you guys nailed it on every key aspect. They start out undefeated, look like they're amazing, and then they play one Big Ten team, and they look terrible.
Yeah, it's like, who are these guys? This is not the same team.
All right, Jaden and I are 3 for 3. Jason, where are you at on this one?
Northwestern. So I literally flip-flop with you guys. And I root for Northwestern as well, but David Braun, and I don't know, I should have looked this up. I don't know if they have a home stadium. I think a huge
Not yet. They don't have a home stadium yet. They've got that temporary one that they built.
Yeah, they have that one, but the players hated it. And I think that was a huge reason why Northwestern took a huge step backwards, even though they had a lot of their talent returning. But it sounded like, from everything I was hearing and reading and watching or whatever, the players just do not like that home field. It's so small. I think they can only get 20,000 fans at the most, if that, into that just makeshift stadium. So I think they're going to be good when they get a home field. That's what I'm saying.
That's why they switched.
I think too they'll get there. Okay.
That's why they switched to the Wrigley Field game when Ohio State came. And that way they had some extra seats.
Okay, they did that with Iowa too, but both teams had to be on the same side of the football field.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm guessing Wrigley's not quite set up to be a football stadium.
No.
not like Yankee Stadium. Okay.
Right.
All right. At number 15, who you guys got? Go ahead, Jason.
I got Rutgers. They lost.
Wow.
I mean, they still have their running back. I can't remember his name. He's a stud. Did he go pro? Can't remember. I might be a year off. No, I think he was only a sophomore. He'll be going pro after his junior year. I think he's still there. Magnungmai, or did he go pro? I can't remember.
I think he left.
Oh, he left. Okay. If he left, then they're really screwed, right? He was their only real player that they had. They don't have an offense. They do have a defense, but that's what Greg Schiano is good at, right? Yeah. So they have a defense, but they don't know. They can't even get an Iowa-style offense against a normal team, right? Iowa could still win with their defense because the offense would do a little bit at a time, where Rutgers, they can't even do a little bit at a time. So their defense, it just depends on the players, obviously, but they appear to give up. They look good in the first half a lot of times, the defense. And then the second half, it's like they're like, you know what? Screw this. So,
hey, Jaden, what's their schedule look like? What's Rutgers' schedule look like? I can look it up, and I see that you have it in front of you.
Yeah, Jay's got the setup. Jay is set up.
I saw the picture you sent. That is quite the setup.
Yeah.
You're ready for the professional world, dude.
They open with Ohio, then Miami, Ohio, and then they move to Norfolk State. So they'll be 3-0. And then they go play Iowa, Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, Purdue, Illinois, Maryland, Ohio State, and finish with Penn State.
Yeah, I don't see a win until they get to Purdue.
In the Big Ten?
Yeah.
They're going to duke it out for the bottom of the league, those two teams.
Yeah, okay. So I also chose Rutgers at that position. Just basically for the reason why you guys mentioned. It's tough. But, 15 through 18, I just wanted to say, those teams could finish in any order because when they do play each other, you got a chance to beat one another.
Yeah. And also with Rutgers, their run defense was terrible last year. And then one of their best linebackers then transferred out in the spring. So I don't know. And that's only going to make matters worse when it comes to trying to stop the run for them. So,
can you imagine being a team that's so-so? You're not quite that good, but you need some talent to be good, and all your best players leave you anyway. And so, okay, guys, I'm going to go with number 14 here. This might surprise a few people, but I'll explain myself as we go up the ladder. But I'm choosing Wisconsin. Okay.
I don't think you're as bad as you were thinking. But why do you got Wisconsin?
I got Wisconsin, one, because their schedule. Have you seen their schedule?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, I just don't think Wisconsin's right there yet. I mean, I think they're discombobulated. This is Luke Fickell's team, right? Luke Fickell.
Mhm.
and he wants to come in with the air raid. They tried the air raid the first season, didn't like it. Started out the last year with the air raid, didn't get results. So in the middle of the season, he switches to a traditional power offense, and I don't think that he knows what these players want now, unless he's got a bunch of transfer portal people, and I didn't really take the time to go find out that is going to turn this team around in one season. But I still, with the schedule they got, I mean, they might get a couple extra wins than I planned on them getting. Right now, I think I got them like 2-7 in the Big Ten or something like that. I can't
That's
remember.
what
I
I
have to
have
go
as
back and
well.
look. Gotta go back and look because I got all my research on my cell phone. I got in different spots. So, okay, what do you guys got for number 14?
So at number 14, it's kind of going against the grain here. I have UCLA. I don't necessarily like their pickup of Nico. I don't think he was that good of a quarterback there at Tennessee to make that big of a difference. Now they did finish out the year. They were in just about every game. They were a very competitive team. But I don't know if that quarterback, Nico, coming in is enough to swing the trajectory for another season for him. I have them at 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually have Wisconsin at 4. Do you have Wisconsin, Jay? Sorry, I was looking up who the new OC is.
He has UCLA.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said, UCLA. Okay, I have Wisconsin as well. And it's
So you're
because
laughing at me, and we're only one difference.
No, we're not. We're the same.
Oh,
No,
we're
I
the
was
same.
laughing.
Oh, we're the same. Okay. All right. Now I want to hear your reasoning on this.
Yeah, I was laughing because you were acting like you were the only one that did it, and then you said Wisconsin. I looked down, and I have Wisconsin as well.
Well, I went and looked at some of the media people, what they have. They got Wisconsin quite a bit higher than I do. I think with like 6 or 7 wins.
That's
in
why
the
they're
Big
in
Ten.
the media. That's why they're in. When's the last time the media's been right? Well, I have Wisconsin at 14 because of Luke Fickell. They hired Jeff Grimes. He come from Baylor, so are they going to still try to run some air raid style offense? I don't know what they're going to do, but they hired Jeff Grimes to be the OC. They brought in an air raid before, and I don't know if they're going to go back to that, but I don't think Luke Fickell really knows what he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's trying to figure out what's going to work with the players he has. And I really think he's struggling figuring out what he has. He legit had one of the best running backs in the country when he got there 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now that guy's gone. If it wasn't for that running back a year ago, they wouldn't have done what they did. They wouldn't have won as many games as they did. So, and let's see, last year they were 7-6,
Mm-hmm.
and that was with the stud running back. So they don't have anything. I mean, they'll be lucky to be 14th the way I look at it. They're just a team that's going to be the next Nebraska. They fired a winning coach that was winning 9 or 10 games a year, and they haven't went to a bowl game, have they? Although they did last year. So, but they haven't gone above 7 wins since they fired the 9-win coach, the 10-win coach.
Yeah. Sometimes you get too greedy, and and how do we know that Alvarez wasn't behind that fire, even though he's no longer associated with the school? And you know what? If Fickell doesn't produce this year, he will not either finish the year or he will not be starting next year as the coach.
Well, he's not.
I'll tell you, he's not going to. When you have Alabama, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, and Illinois, yeah.
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 All right, guys. So there goes how about our 13th place team?
Who do you want to go?
Oh, Jaden, you go ahead and go because I had you go first before.
So at 13, I have Michigan State. I think their success will come down to Childs. If he limit the turnovers, Michigan State will be great. I just don't see that happening though. He just has a tendency to fumble, throw interceptions, and their defense isn't the greatest. They didn't make enough improvements in this offseason transfer portal for me to want to move them up higher. So turnovers, quarterback, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Childs is last year I called him a poor man's Michael Vick. He could do all those things Michael Vick does. He has a strong arm, but he's not accurate and he fumbles a lot. I think he led the
Yeah.
country in fumbles for a quarterback, if
Mhm.
I remember right.
Didn't
So,
didn't
but
didn't Iowa make him look like an all-star, all-American?
yeah, he had that one good game against
Yeah.
Iowa. And Iowa didn't make him punt once. But yeah, can you guys see this? Nope, you can't. I have Michigan State at 13 as well. So
Me too. So we all got him. We all got him there.
we were so close. But they brought in Jonathan Smith last year. He's a really good coach. He came from Oregon State. He won at Oregon State. I think he can win at Michigan State. It's just going to take him a few. And maybe Childs made a huge improvement, right? Like I said, Childs has talent, all kinds of talent.
Mhm.
He just needs better ball control, right? He just needs to hold on to it and be able to read the defense and see where he's throwing the ball, because he does have skills. And maybe that's why he looked so good against Iowa, because they play zone and he could just pick it apart. Like he did really well picking apart. So, Childs has the talent and they have a good coach, but I still have him at 13th. I got to wait and see beyond that, because I think they really only have a quarterback as far as on offense at all.
Okay.
And he'll be running for his life. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have at number 12, I chose UCLA, and I'll be interested to see what you got, Jaden, because I know you took UCLA a little lower.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at 12, I then picked Wisconsin.
Okay, so you and I flip flop. Other than that, you and I are perfect together.
And it goes back to Wisconsin. They're in a bit of an identity crisis. They don't know what they want to do, whether they want to run the ball, if they want to throw the ball all over the place. They don't have the talent to, in my opinion, they don't have the talent to be one of those air raid teams. And you're trying to take something and make do with what it just won't work. So
yeah, I mean, and what I don't understand about him too, like with what you said, you reminded me they don't have the talent to do it. One thing Mike Leach did when he went to a new spot, even if they don't have the talent, he would obviously coach it, but he would get an air raid quarterback.
Correct.
Right? The first thing you have to do in the air raid is get a quarterback, because he's got to build. There's so many things that happen in an air raid where the receivers and quarterback have to be on the same page, because you don't know what route you're going to run. There's a lot of option routes in the air raid, and Wisconsin has yet to go get a quarterback who can run the air raid. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what he's like confused about.
Well, I think they're going to try. They have that Billy Edwards from Maryland, who's now transferring in.
Isn't he a big old white dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was very good. Yeah, at Maryland, I think he looked. Yeah, I forgot he was there. He is not a quarterback. Yeah, he is not a quarterback. He would probably be a very good strong safety or something. But yeah, that's interesting that they went and got C. I mean, I think he fell right into what we were just saying. Billy Edwards is not an air raid quarterback.
No.
We'll see what they do, I guess. But,
okay, guys. Number 11, what do you got, Jason?
Hold on. Number 12, I got.
Oh, you didn't do number 12 yet? Okay, go ahead.
No.
Sorry.
We kept talking. You guys both picked Wisconsin, and we had to just keep talking. UCLA. I have UCLA at 12.
Okay.
And my question is like what Jay said is Nico. I mean, he has a lot of talent, but he is in his brain. I think it's his dad. He's got a lot of issues as far as thinking he's God. So coming out
but
of
he
high
didn't
school,
look that bad against Iowa when he played against Iowa.
Once again, they just got
again. Iowa has a way of making people.
How many
look like
turnovers did Iowa's offense have? Right, he got worn down. We had heavy D at quarterback who would fumble, and they didn't bring Marco in until the last 5 minutes of the game, and Marco was the leading rusher in the game for Iowa. So, but yeah, it's all about Nico, because I think they do have some pieces on defense. I love Deshaun Foster as their coach. Yeah. He's a great running back. Jay, I don't know if you ever seen him play running back, but he was a great running back for UCLA, and he played for Carolina. He was really good at running back. But Deshaun Foster right now, I liked what he was doing a year ago as a head coach for UCLA. He's back home at his alma mater, and I'm going to root for him. But it's all what will Nico do? Well, the first time he can't do anything, how's he going to treat his teammates? Like with Nico, because his dad is very arrogant, like trying to say, if I don't get this amount of money, Nico's not going there. And everybody said, all right, I guess he's not playing, right? Tennessee,
Yeah.
I guess to your point, Jay, Tennessee was happy to get rid of him.
They
right?
were.
I mean, they gave him $8 million, and they did not feel like he was deserving of what they gave him.
Yeah, he
So-
wanted more.
Yeah, and he
Well,
wanted
ultimately-
more.
and ultimately ended up getting less than what he
Yeah.
intended on getting. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody was going to take him for what they were. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Caleb Williams. Remember what he said to the Bears? I want partial
yeah.
ownership. That's
Yeah.
not how the NFL works. NFL was
All
like,
right.
well, you're not.
Guys, an
getting
event
that.
to try to keep this moving so we can limit this to an hour. Before we move on to number 11, I just want to say, in my opinion, 12 through 15 could finish in any of those orders. And despite the fact that we're not agreed on every one of them, we did agree that the 12th through 15th are all exact same teams in that grouping.
Yeah.
And it really depends, again, on what they do with each other when they meet
I
each
think
other.
16 through 18 is the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Northwestern,
saying.
Maryland, and Purdue.
Yeah, and I kind of got this broke up. Now, this next group, I'm starting at number 11 with Minnesota, but this is a group of about 5 or 6 teams that will depend on where they do against each other. But anyway, I'm picking Minnesota. I'm
What
just
can you
going to
say
go.
about
I'm just
them?
going to say it. Their coach. I don't like their coach, and so even if this team has some little kudos to it, I'm picking against them every time. I want to
Oh.
see this team fall flat on its face and crash that rowboat. So out of
You
this
just-
grouping of 6 teams, I made them the lowest of the 6 teams.
You just don't like positivity, and PJ Fleck is full of positivity. It is the glass
bad.
half full. But
Although I will say, one of my coworkers when I worked at Subaru, they PJ Fleck, he was on a plane with Scott Frost, and my coworker was there with him, and he said that PJ Fleck said that Ryan Day is too in over his head and would not amount to anything as the head coach.
You know, he might be the best head coach they've had for a long time, including Urban.
we'll find out. He's
We'll
got
find
another
out,
one
yeah.
to go, but we'll find out.
They each got one championship, right? Urban only got
Yeah.
one, right?
Yep.
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 Okay. All right.
I at number 11, I have Minnesota as well, and then all I put was PJ Fleck. I don't.
That's funny that we did because of Fleck.
Yeah, that's all I did. If I wasn't in the green screen thing, I would show you. But yeah, all I put was PJ Fleck. They don't have anybody at quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do. Although they are a running football team, right? He kind of coaches like Kirk on offense. Like when he had that running back, I can't. Is it Ibrahim? You guys remember him? Ibrahim?
Yeah.
Mhm. He ran the
was
heck
good.
out of him. He used him.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, he got 30, 40 carries a game. They did not care. But yeah, I have him at 11. There's really not much to say because he's been there 6 years now. It's the 6th or 7th year for PJ Fleck, and they're
Yeah.
still down in the dumps. So he had his good year when he had. I don't think he's had a good year with his team, to be honest. So
With,
2019.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
9-0
19?
going into the Iowa game one year, and then of course we crashed his rowboat that year.
Mhm.
that was 2021, right? I believe that was 2020 or 2021.
I think that one
Well, that wasn't
was
2020.
19. That was
Oh!
2019.
You are right, isn't it? Because Nate Stanley was Iowa's quarterback.
And
You're right.
they had beaten Penn State that year at home.
Yes, now I remember.
Minnesota
You're
had-
right.
Yeah, Minnesota beat Penn State at home.
Okay. So they were a pretty solid team, but after Iowa beat them that year, they just fell
Yeah.
apart. Their
Well,
season
like I
was
said-
over.
Like I said, with PJ's players, he hasn't won squat, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that first year, that was his first year in 2019, I think, or 2018, somewhere in
Either
there.
first or second, but yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna try to
first
move
and
it around.
second
Jaden, what's your number 11?
I'll keep it short. Washington, I like what they have offensively. Their quarterback, Damon Williams, I like him, but they lost a lot on defense. We'll stop it there.
Okay. All right, Jason, we're gonna move on to number 10. Jaden, go ahead and start with number 10.
USC. Lincoln Riley, in my opinion, he's a good coach. I just don't like their inconsistencies at quarterback. They have too much going on. Now they were somewhat competitive last year. They had a chance to win many other games they played. But until I see Lincoln Riley once again find that quarterback that he can mold into it doesn't have to be Caleb Williams or Kyler Murray, how they were at Oklahoma, but something just above average, I think he'll be fine. But until then, I don't have to.
I think he needs a supporting cast around him too.
Mm-hmm.
When he finds that quarterback, because he had that Caleb Williams at USC and was not able to get a supporting cast around him.
Yeah. Because their defense wasn't that good. They were scoring 40, but giving up 45.
Yeah. Jason, your turn.
I got Michigan, and it's because they don't really have a quarterback. I know Bryce. I'm not high on Bryce Underwood, so it'll be interesting if he does do well. I wasn't high on him coming out of high school, but everybody loves him. I think he's the kid that got like $10 million from Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
That's the rumors. Whether it's true or not, we'll never know.
It's all rumors. But and I mean, Sharon Moore, he also has to take some accountability. Sometimes, like, he was just pushing like everything away, like talking about the culture, right? Forget what the culture was. He's going to have to recreate it under his image and not blame everything on Harbaugh, right? Harbaugh's gone now. To think that this will be Harbaugh's second year gone. This is your team more. Make it your culture. No more talking about the past.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
All right. I got Nebraska at number 10. Honestly, I could have put them a little higher. I think that, Nebraska, they got 7-6 last year. I think they will improve on that a little bit. But again, I was trying to look. What's their record look like, Jaden? Because I was kind of curious. I can't remember.
They have an easy or light schedule. I mean, the first week they start with Cincinnati and Kansas City.
That's right. They got a pretty solid schedule. That's what I was wondering. Or not solid, but solid, easy schedule.
Yeah, and then Akron, Houston, Christian. And then they have Michigan at home, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, UCLA. And then they finish with Penn State and Iowa.
Yeah. Okay, Penn State's going to beat them up for us so that we get that win.
We won't need it.
At number 9, I chose USC. Basically for the same reason. Did you guys do your number 10s?
Yeah,
that's what I had.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at number 9. Okay,
number
USC.
9. You're good.
All right. So, did you guys tell me your number 9s already, or am I starting to lose track?
No, you're starting to lose track. You're first on number 9, buddy.
Okay. All right.
You're starting to think about our next podcast already. Just focus on this one. We'll move on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, I've never been under the gun to do 2 podcasts at the same time. So
you had USC
for me.
At number 9. You had USC.
Yes.
I have Washington at number 9. Jed Fish is a good coach. We'll see what he can do. A year ago, I was at the Iowa-Washington game. Man, his decisions, I was dying laughing. Washington only punted one time the whole game. They went for it on every fourth down like they just could control the game. It was weird. Iowa just kept getting the ball back, and then they couldn't stop Iowa's offense, which was fun to watch. But, I mean, he was a good coach. I don't know if he was just testing his team, but Washington does. And I compare Damian Williams to Childs. I think they both can move. Williams is more of a runner than he is a thrower, where Childs can do both. But a year ago, they brought in an air raid quarterback, and they would play Williams, and they would try to run the football instead of playing the quarterback. They paid like $5 million to come. It was just weird. So,
that was the guy from Mississippi State, right? Will Rogers? Yeah.
Yep. Mike Leach's quarterback. It sucks that he went to Washington because he's a great air raid quarterback. He started as a freshman with he was my proven point of Mike Leach. When he'd go to these teams, he'd bring in a quarterback. That was the first thing. No matter what, bring in a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys both? Did everybody go on their number 9?
Do you have number 9, Jay?
No. So for number 9, I have Indiana. I wasn't very high on them last year. I didn't like them last year. I think their schedule was too easy last year.
Mhm.
So I think they're a little inflated in most
Yeah.
people's like thought process when they come to judging them. And then they lost their quarterbacks. Now they're getting a new one this year. I still like their defense. I like Signetti as the coach. I don't think they'll be terrible, but there's like a group from about 9 to 5 that can really flip, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
No, I'm with you on
So,
that. I actually
I
have
agree.
9 to 4 is what I have that could flip. Is kind of how I have it set up.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go through this real fast. What I'm gonna do is just tell you guys. I'm gonna take you up to. I'm gonna tell you that number 7, I've got Iowa. Wait a minute, I got number 8, Washington. Number 7, Iowa. Number 6, Michigan. Number 5, Indiana. And I'm rethinking that after listening to you guys.
Well, here, hold on. With the Indiana thing, I'll talk fast. They did get
Yeah.
Cal transfer, with what Jay was talking about was Fernando Mendoza. He's a pretty
Mhm.
good quarterback. So if he can fit in like last year's rookie, then they may have it. But the schedule is completely different, like Jay
Yeah.
said. So
Yeah. So, guys, give me your 8 through 5, real quick.
I'll go. At 8, I had USC. Then because of Lincoln Riley. Number 7, Nebraska. I have them at 7 because of Dana Holgerson, their new OC. And then I have Indiana at 6. But I think 6 and 7, 8, they all could be.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Again, it comes down to what they do against each other.
Mhm.
What do you got, Jay?
So at 8, I have Nebraska. I think year 3 for Matt Rule, it will be decent, but not as to what Nebraska fans think it'll be. 7, I have Minnesota, but I like their schedule. Although, like you guys mentioned earlier, their quarterback situation, who knows what'll happen. I have a ceiling for them at 9 and 3, but I believe I have the record down here as 7 and 5 is what I think they'll finish as.
Okay.
6, I then have Iowa, and then 5 is Illinois. And Illinois, they're bringing back almost everybody on their team. They have a good coach, have a good unit together. They were good last year. I think they'll be able to move forward this year and potentially have a playoff run.
I like
In your
it.
5?
Yep, that
Well, I didn't give
5
them
was.
5. I thought we stopped at 5. We stopped at 6.
Okay. All right.
You want to go to the next 2?
Let's go with
However
4
you
and
wanna do
5. Okay.
Okay.
I've got both. I got Indiana at 5. I got a little bit of a drop off. I did mention that earlier, but I was rethinking that. I've got Illinois at number 4 because I'm becoming a believer after watching them last year. And so I think Illinois is starting to look like the Wisconsin of old, and I predicted they would once they got the people they needed. And so that's where I'm at. What do you guys got for 4 and 5?
Go ahead, Jay.
So for 5, yeah, Illinois. But 4, this is a bit of a wild card here. I like Michigan at 4.
Ooh.
I think they don't have the talent at wide receiver that majority of teams that will finish that high should. But I think that their running game will be what drives that offense. And as long as Underwood is just a quarterback that can complete some passes and get the job done, I think they'll move on to be successful because their defense is still good. They have good guys across the field on defense. It'll just come down to the arm talent on offense.
I have that is a shocker for me because you must be a little higher on Bryce Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
But on number 5, I actually have Illinois, and 4, I have Iowa. And I have like both Iowa and Illinois to me are the same teams. Like they could flip the winner of that game. Maybe we'll make them 4th. I think Iowa's going to surprise a lot of people because they do have a good backup in case Gronowski gets hurt. Hank Brown, I've always liked him as well. Coming out of high school, I liked Hank Brown when he went to Auburn. So this is the first year, and now we know who's making the quarterback decisions. It's not Kirk. So we know who's making. It's the actual OC and quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Iowa's offense more this year. But I have Iowa 4 and Illinois 5.
Okay. Jaden, where did you have Iowa? I've missed that.
6th.
Okay. All righty. Okay, guys, this is the crucial, the 1, 2, 3. Okay. I took Oregon as number 3. Ohio State as number 2. I know I'm going to take some flack on that one. And Penn State as number 1.
I knew you were going to do this.
I think this is the year that Penn State finally gets over the hump. I mean, they came so freaking close, but I think their only loss was to Ohio State last year. And this year they don't meet, I believe.
They lost to Ohio State in the regular season and then Oregon in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about Oregon. I think Oregon's going to have a slight drop-off. I think Ohio State and Penn State are both better than Oregon. I just had to decide who finishes 1 and who finishes 2, so I went with Penn State. I just think they got the experienced quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Franklin, but I have to give my kudos to him for what he's done with that program since he's taken it over.
Yeah.
And so, anyhow, and Ohio State's going to have a rookie quarterback. So, but that's going to be, when does Ohio State and Penn State don't meet this year? Am I correct?
They do.
Okay.
And it's in Ohio this year. Yeah.
It's at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the winner of that game is number 1. They're going into that game at number undefeated.
Yeah.
Now he's backing out.
No, but right now I got Penn State number 1, Ohio State number 2, and I'll leave it at that, and we'll see how we do later. I might change it when we do our real predictions in August.
I'll give mine so Jay can finish us up with it. But number 3, I have Penn State, and I put they should win, but they won't win with Franklin's game day management. He always does something silly in big games.
Okay.
He dominates in games where he has more talent, kind of like Lincoln Riley. He was at Oklahoma dominating, but he always had the most talent. Always, right? Some coaches, you have to win. Penn State's not going to have more talent than Oregon or Ohio State, in my opinion. They have the most experience. They should win strictly on experience this year. Mm-hmm. But I don't trust Franklin in big games. Let me say that. Number 2, I have Oregon. That's because of Dan Lanning, their head coach. He has proved to me he's a really good coach. I did not expect him to be as good as he is at Oregon. He is really good. So I have them at 2. And I think they beat Penn State. But I think the game's at Penn State.
It is.
So it is.
Whiteout at night. A primetime whiteout game.
Yes.
Okay. So that will be tough. So the winner of the Penn State-Oregon will finish number 2. And I have Ohio State, and all I put was talent and Coach Ryan Day. That's all I have.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Because they do.
You go for it, because I know this is your moment.
So at 3, I have Oregon. I like Dante Moore. I believe that's who will be starting for him going into the fall. I just like Dan Lanning as a coach. And then at 2, this one I kind of went back and forth as who I think is the better team going into the season. I think Penn State's better, but I think as Ohio State will move along, and then as they gain more experience playing with one another, that's why I have Ohio State at 1, Penn State at 2. I think Ohio State will start 0-1, but then finish the rest of the season undefeated in the Big Ten play. And ultimately, I think that will lead to both of them playing again in the Big Ten championship game. So,
okay. So,
by then, both teams will be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Professional media people have Ohio State going 9-0 in the Big Ten. Penn State losing to Ohio State. I just looked it up. However, they got Penn State winning the Big Ten. Why is that? Because they're going to play each other for the title, and Penn State wins the title game.
Yeah. So there was a stat back in 2022 when Alabama and Georgia played in the SEC championship game, and they played again in the national championship game. Whenever 2 top 5 teams meet each other the first time and the first team wins, they never has it happened that the other team has won it the second time. So that'll be interesting to see.
That is
all right, guys. This has been a fun conversation. I'm sorry I kind of rushed it. Ordinarily, I would let this podcast go as long as the commenters would let it go, which we only had one tonight, and long as we had things to discuss. But As you know, I got to get set up. I got to get this one edited and set up for the next one in about a half hour. So,
Yeah, quick
That's
turnaround.
because you didn't share it, though, Dean. No one even knows we went live.
oh, I know it because I was gone all day and didn't have a chance to share it. But hey, I'm going to tell you, once I share those with everybody, because there's probably about 20 places in Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Blue Sky,
Yeah.
Snapchat. I share it all over. If you guys will share it all over, we'll get our views. We'll get our views. I think we peaked out at 4 people tonight watching at one time. But that's my
Well-
fault. I didn't promote the show like I usually do, and I didn't put it anywhere else in the net like I usually do it. So I apologize. That with your guys' help, we'll get this thing viewed. But just share it. Jaden, I will send you the link to share it with when I get it all set.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can just go to YouTube and find it yourself before I do that, because I probably won't send it until after the other show's done.
All
Perfect.
Okay.
right.
So guys, appreciate it. Oh, and Jaden, man, you were a treat. You know your stuff. You were prepared, and I really appreciate what you brought. I'd love to have you on during the season again.
All right.
I
I would love to.
I know Iowa and Ohio State don't play again this year, but we can figure something out.
Yes.
You know your Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
All right, guys. Thank you for
Perfect.
watching. I'm going to end the stream and
Bye, guys. Go Hawks.
go Hawks.
OH.
Oh, by the way, I wore this just for you, Jaden. This is Bucky's shirt. It's a football player, Bucky.
Okay.
All right.